didn't get to make it.
What a surprise. No idea. Right? Oh, this is great. Thank you much. Oh, what a surprise. Totally.
Wow, what a nice room.
If we can't fit into it. Right up there. And she knew everything. And you're a little.
Guess who the last guy is to sit down? Well, she's table roaming also. You know, we got together last night and talking to Corky and I said, now what's the plan for this weekend? We just got in, and he said, well, this LSS gathering the afternoon Friday, and then the next morning we're getting together for our Western brunch, and then I think we're going over to Hodges for supper, and Sunday Sheila's, and he said, but I don't know what's going on Friday night. But I tell you, Corky, you were surprised. And it's tough to get these 120 people in this room and have it be a secret. But there was one person that pulled it off. Your lovely bride. Was some of the ladies here. She said, I am never going to have an affair. She says, I've been hiding from Corky, hiding this, that, and telling small fibs. She said, I can't stand the pressure. I will never have an affair. At least Romaine, we know the reason anyhow. You know, this is just great to get together with all of Corky's family, friends, and co-workers. It's just outstanding. I happen to be one of the brothers, and my name's Torque. I had a little affair, retirement, better be careful, about a year ago. And about 6 months ago, Romaine and I were talking, and I said, what are you going to do for Corky's retirement? And she had plans like you couldn't believe, just like that. And I tell you, she pulled it off. Just an outstanding job. Corky, this is your retirement, your evening. You can do anything to anybody, and they have to like it. Tomorrow, you're a nobody. And you just joined, in fact, you're number 2 in command around the house even, you know, right? And there's only 2 at the house, so. But you've got a lot of memories, a lot of friends, 31 years of faithful service to a great organization, LSS. Your family here, outstanding. Just a great bunch, a tribute to the 2 of you. But more than that, you are the husband, the father, the grandfather, the brother, friend to all of us in this room. Just outstanding. So this is your night. And again, I say to Romaine, hats off to you. Outstanding job of pulling it together. But more than that, there were others involved. Debbie and Steve and Sandy and Jim, Robert. You will see touches of all their expertise as we go through. Take it a little easier. Do those things you want to do when you want to do it. Whether it's fishing or trips, Alaska, or skiing, or whatever. Brother Corky, Father Corky. We ask you to be with him, especially this evening. He's touched many lives, and we just give you all the thanks, the glory, and the honor for the man that he is. Thank you for his family, the kids. Thank you for Mom and Dad, and brothers and sisters, cousins, grandkids. I pray that you will bless this evening, Lord Jesus, and we ask you to bless the food that's been put before us. We ask you to be with us, each and every one. Thank you, Lord, for being our Lord and Savior. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Now we're going to get salad.
Or do you want me to cut?
I tell you what, why don't you go ahead and please cut it? Because it's a lot easier for the samples.
That's fine.
Okay, I'll be right.
I'll just wait for a night.
Do you want to just ash out and cut pieces to...
Left-handed.
is retiring from Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota after 30 years of service. I'd like to have you stand up. I'd like to introduce the family. First of all, his wife of 32 years, Romaine. 33. Yes, Debbie will turn 32 this year. And then next to Mom is Sandy Carlson and her husband Dave. Next we have Robert at the table, and then next to him is the oldest child, Debbie, and her husband Mark Gackel. And last there is the youngest, Jim Bugelstead, and there's myself, Steve, the oldest one. We're happy that all his siblings could make it. We have his older brother, Purcell. And we have Torque and his wife, Jerry, that came all the way from Naperville, Illinois. Oh, where's Marcia? There she is. I didn't see her next to Marcel. I was wondering. Welcome to Marcia, too. Also from Minneapolis. Next we have Rold and his wife Paulina from Minnetonka. And Podge and Ron Mellermo from Moorhead. And the youngest brother, Rennie Bugelstead, and his wife Judy from Billings. Then the youngest in the family, we have Sheila Obenauer and her friend Gordy. And the in-laws made it too. We have Mom's sister Cynthia and her husband Dave Olson up from Kansas City. And the mother-in-law, Glendiva Wiegand, came up from Wendell, Minnesota today.
I'd like to introduce my aunts and my uncle came here from Wendell, Minnesota, and I really appreciate that. Would you stand up? And I've got lots of relatives too. Two cousins, Harlan and Judy Lisley, Jimmy and Kay Wiegand. And there's over here at this table. And I know there's lots more.
Well, Dad has had a very productive career with Lutheran Social Service. Began in 1961 in Wilmer, Minnesota. Then in 1968 he moved here to Moorhead and has been here since then. He's been the director of the program and has taken it from just a staff of a few people to a very large staff with many different programs that he's overseen. Although he's enjoyed work, I know he's been looking forward to retirement. He has plenty of hobbies and now several grandsons in town to keep him busy. And there's also a new Suburban and a travel trailer on order. And I'm sure he'll be enjoying those also. As he's changing hats now from work to retirement, I'd like to give him the first of his presentations tonight. It's a hat I brought back that I thought would be quite appropriate for him at retirement.
Oh, yeah.
great social worker, but he's also been a great husband and a great father. He's always seemed to be able to mesh those two jobs very well. He's managed to spend a lot of time with the family and really develop great relationships with the wife and also all us kids. His concern and love for his family has been evident in many ways, both all the big things that go on in life and also in the day-to-day actions. There's always been time for us whenever we needed it. It's been wonderful to have a social worker as a father. In fact, I'd recommend it to anyone. I know he's been a great counselor because I've been using his services on a regular basis throughout the years. He's always been a great person to talk to and turn to for help. And I can really say that I'm proud to have a social worker as a father. Well, tonight we're going to have a series of people we've asked to give brief greetings tonight. Brief greetings tonight. Our first is going to be Marcel Fugelstead. I know Dad's years growing up in a large and close family has really affected all of us kids too, because it's been reflected in the relationships he's had with all of us. So here's Marcel, again the oldest of, or should I say the most mature or the most senior of the kids.
And productive. Well, I'd like to introduce all my family. I take it back. You know, it's tough. This is the second of my young kid brothers that's retired now. But you know, I want to tell you, I got the whole day off to come. I really felt lucky. A whole day. Thank you all for coming. This is a wonderful thing. And you're here because of Corky. We're here because of Corky. And we're here for one reason, to really celebrate with you, Corky. I was thinking, you know, this life has many aspects to it. Having experienced some time in the third world, they really have one thing that is just a prize. They're very poor. They don't have much. Commodities aren't terribly important. They barter this and that. But their whole culture is relational. They have each other. And this is why we're here, because we have each other. And I think if we're going to learn anything, you know, from the third world, which we sure can, we need to know that relationships are important. And I have appreciated the relationship in our greater family, in the personal family, Corky, with you. And I think this goes really to all of you. We are all a part of a greater family here tonight to celebrate Cork's retirement. So thank you all for coming. Thanks so much for the tribute that you're giving my little brother here.
Well, thank you, Marcel. Well, during our 7 years in Wilmer, Dad and Mom developed a lot of good friendships. And this is evident in that 23 years later, they're still very close friends. They still see each other on a regular basis and are often seen together up at the Lake of the Woods. So Dave Stagerberg tonight is going to represent the Wilmer group.
I've been looking forward to this, Corky. Needless to say. And I bring you greetings from all the people in Wilmer that you knew, and some of which are here this evening, and those that could not be here sent their greetings to you and are thinking about you. I think if I think back to the years when Corky was in Wilmer, our friendship goes back many, many years, and we both have 3 sons, and we've done many things with our families, with you and Romaine, and Phyllis and I together over the years. And, you know, on an evening like this, I want to share two stories with these folks because I believe that anybody who is in retirement years can handle this, and I think you ought to know this. His hat is very appropriate, especially for the two stories I'm going to tell because they both involve fishing at Lake of the Woods, and Corky and I and our sons have been going to Lake of the Woods for I don't know how many years, and I guess the last year or so we didn't make connect, but I was fishing Corky on Lake of the Woods this year just east of Burton Island, and I thought I had a beautiful walleye on. It was fighting wonderfully, and I was really getting this thing. It was back and forth, lots of action. And this is what came up. Now, I will tell you it has a cork handle. I don't know how you got the name Corky, but this has a cork handle. And to bring you folks on board, because this is a story that I need to share. We were fishing east of Burton Island before our kids were old enough to go, and it was one of these days where the lake was absolutely flat, and I had my 16-foot boat and 25-horse motor, and we were trolling. And we've been catching walleyes all morning, and finally, and I should tell you that my wife, I had given her a new rod and reel with a cork handle like this for Mother's Day, and she had never used it. Well, I brought it along just in case I had a problem. Well, as we were fishing along, Corky somehow got in trouble with his reel, and rather than going 7-8 miles back to shore, I said, hey, why don't you just take this one of Phyllis's here and use that? So I was fishing, running the motor to the back of the boat. We were trolling. Now, it's a perfectly still day. We were out in the lake about a mile, and of course, as you know, sometimes Mother Nature starts to call, and there were no boats around or anything, and so Corky decided that over the side of the boat must be the place to take care of the problem. And of course, I was fishing, and he wasn't allowing me the extra time, of course, to catch another walleye, being very competitive, and so he continued fishing through this, but what he didn't know is that there had been a launch that had gone by about 5 minutes earlier, had sent a great big wake, coming in. He didn't see this, and about the time all this was transpiring, this wake hit our boat and, waved, and all of a sudden, as I was fishing, Corky hollers, Dave, he says, grab the cork, and I said, cork? We're not using cork. And he said, no, on the handle. I said, on the handle of what? He said, the rod. Well, then I realized that the rod reel had gone in the lake. Well, Corky, I retrieved it here, as you can see, and I did put a cork on it, so this time I do have something to grab hold of when it goes down next time. Well, in later years, after our sons got old enough to join us, and we took them up there on camping trips many times, this trip rubbed off, and this is a story of coming into Baudette, and what you need to know prefacing it is that in Baudette they have a huge walleye. It's just after you cross the bridge. It's about 60 feet long and 30 feet high. It's a humongous thing. And my son Paul, who's approximately 8 at that time, and Steve, who is about 12, are in the back seat. Corky's I'm driving, Corky's in the other seat. And we're coming into Baudette, and we're approaching the bridge, and just as we're approaching, there's a young lady, about 17 years old, who in early June is scantily clad, well endowed, and aware of both. She's walking on the right-hand side, and he kind of pokes me as if I hadn't already noticed. And at that very moment, Steve says in the back seat to my son Paul, man, would I like to tie into one like that? Well, Corky's eyes absolutely like this boat is not good before. And a short pause, and Steve says, that's the biggest walleye I've ever seen. punchline. Never get tired of that one. That was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Well, we've had many good times since, and I just want you to know that all of your friends in Wilmer, now that you're retired, we expect that you come down there and share some of that retirement time with us and create some more colorful memories for the future. But it's great having you as a friend, and we all love you, and God bless. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Dave. But I think it's appropriate now to say that there's been a secret I've kept from you for 18 years. I wasn't looking at the fish. Seems appropriate time to go to our minister for since coming to Moorhead, we've attended Christ the King Lutheran Church, and through much of that time, Reverend Roger Olson has been the minister there, and through that time, both in attendance at the church and on a personal basis, Dad and Roger got to be very close. So Roger's going to give a greeting.
Steve, did you want an appointment? The year that you started with LSS, I was ordained into the ministry of the church, 1961. So we entered this, and I'm still at it. I don't know how you build that retirement fund up fast enough, Corky, but if you stop in next week, I need your help. It's been good times. I first met him when I was at Park Rapids before I moved to Moorhead. He was instrumental in getting a counseling service into the Park Rapids area that's still very active. Sitting with Tom McIntyre, and when we would figure out, Tom, he'd put on 187,000 miles over the years that he drove to Park Rapids and cost LSS something like $37,000. I thought you'd like to have that little bit of trivia. It adds credibility to what you've been doing. I just want to say thank you, Corky. Thank you for what you have meant to me and to our family and what you have meant to our church. And I'm sure that I speak for a lot of families and a lot of your friends there. I wish you could all be here, but you know how long that would take. So thank you on behalf of all of them, and the fellowship surrounds you with lots of arms and lots of hugs and lots of I love yous. Blessings. Let me know when the next time you're going fishing.
Thanks, Roger. Through the years with LSS, Dad has had lots of excellent coworkers, and one of them is Reverend Paul Brunsberg, who's going to say a few words.
When I first started working for LSS, I didn't have to wear these like I do now. I'd like to thank you, Romaine, for inviting me to say some words, because I had a little part in the program this afternoon that was perhaps a little more humorous, and tonight I'd like to be a little bit more serious. I'd like to read to you a poem called The Human Touch. 'Tis the human touch in the world that counts, the touch of your hand in mine, which means far more to the fainting heart than shelter, bread, and wine. For shelter is gone when night is over and bread lasts only a day. But the touch of the hand, the sound of the voice, will sing on in the soul always. Corky, I want you to know that the touch of your hand and the sound of your voice has been for all of us a voice of caring and a source of touch that has meant a lot of consolation to all of us. To those of you who know Corky perhaps more as a friend than professionally, I want you to know that he was a great boss. He hired me, and I will forever be grateful for that. And all of us who have worked for Corky at Lutheran Social Service feel the same way. We have been touched by your sense of caring for all of us as persons, and I think all of us as persons have felt cared for. There have been many times when you in your kind and quiet way have given us little bits of wisdom that have helped us in our professional life. There have been so many ways that you've helped us both as persons and as professionals. And much of what I know as a professional person I learned from you. I learned some of the skills elsewhere, but through your guidance it was brought together. One of the things that we've always appreciated about Corky at LSS is that he has given us a lot of freedom to do what we want to do. We worked in an environment where there was a lot of freedom and a lot of trust. And we all appreciated that. And on behalf of all of us who have been given so much freedom and who have been trusted so much, I'd like to say thank you. I'd also like to say thank you and express gratitude not only to you, Corky, but to your family, and by that I mean extended family, brothers and sisters. I am a little bit younger, so that when I moved to Moorhead, my children were quite young. And your family was a healthy role model for me in terms of bringing up my children. And I have 3 lovely children. And in large part, I want you to know that they are that way because of the things that I've learned from you, Romaine and Corky, but also from the other family. And even though I haven't had much to do with the rest of you, except perhaps Hodge and Sheila, I want you to know that it seems like I know you, because Corky has let us be a part of his life. And I would like to say a word to those of you who are children, and that is that I hope that you will keep up the traditions that have been started in your family, and that you never let them go. I know that sometimes it would be difficult to get together, but I encourage you to make the sacrifice to do that, because that's what family is all about. I'd like to read my favorite poem at this point. It's called The Touch of the Master's Hand. 'Twas battered and scarred, and the auctioneer thought it scarcely worth his while to waste much time on the old violin, but he held it up with a smile. "What am I bidding, good folks?" he cried. $1, then 2, who? Only 2? $2, who'll make it 3? $3 once, $3 twice, going for 3. But no, from the room far back, a gray-haired man came forward and picked up the bow. And then wiping the dust from the old violin and tightening the loose strings, he played a melody pure and sweet as a caroling angel sings. The music ceased, and the auctioneer, with a voice that was quiet and low, said, "What am I bidding for the old violin?" And he held it up with the bow. $1,000, who'll make it 2? 2,000, who'll make it 3? 3,000 once, 3,000 twice, going, going, and gone, said he. The people cheered, but some of them cried, we do not understand what changed its worth. Swift came the reply, the touch of the Master's hand. Many a man with his life out of tune is battered and scarred with sin, and is auctioned cheap to a thoughtless crowd, much like that old violin. A mess of pottage, a glass of wine, a game, and he travels on. He's going once and he's going twice, he's going and almost gone. But then the Master comes and the foolish crowd can never quite understand the worth of a soul and the change that's wrought by the touch of the Master's hand. As I read that poem, I'm thinking, of course, of the Master whose life has touched all of us. But I also think about you in this sense, Corky, that the touch of your hand has meant a great deal to all of us. Through your touch, we have been people who are different, more alive, more aware, and more caring. I'd like to close by reading to you from Philippians, where it says, and now, my friends, all that is true, all that is noble, all that is just and pure, all that is lovable and gracious, whatever is excellent and admirable, fill all your thoughts with these things. The touch of your hand, the sound of your voice, for all of us has been true and noble and just and pure, lovable and gracious, excellent and admirable. And tonight, our thoughts are with you, and we thank you for the gifts that you have shared with us. Tonight, all of us join in sharing with you gratitude for a life that has been well lived and will continue to be so. Thank you, and God bless you.
Purcell, we heard from Dad's side of the family, and now it's time to hear from the in-laws. Since Mom just had one sibling, Cynthia, we've spent a lot of time with their family while growing up. Again, they're up here from Kansas City, and Dave Olson is going to give a greeting.
Thank you, Steve. Romaine told me that there were 7 speakers, and that gave me 66.4 seconds. I'm going to try to live within that guideline, and I'll speak fast and hopefully get a little bit said. You know, 34 years ago, Corky, when you and I started dating the Wiegand girls, we never thought it would end like this or become this function today. But I'm certainly pleased it's been perfect. And you're a big part of the reason it's been perfect, Corky. I wanted to tell you, Corky, from all of us, that we're very proud. We're very proud of your 34 years in dedicated service to this state and to this community. We're very proud of your ability to pursue, as Steve just mentioned, a dreadfully important professional career helping others and still saving time to balance that family and career. We are particularly proud of that family you and Romaine raised, 5 beautifully dedicated children, 2 son-in-laws, 4 grandchildren. We are also very proud of your friends, many of you gathered tonight. You are someone also that we're terribly proud of. You are a friend's friend, a gentleman's gentleman, and an all-around neat guy. Thank you, God bless you, and I wish you every happiness in your retirement.
Thanks, Dave. Ken Lee has been one of Dad's lifelong friends. They grew up together in Moorhead. They went to Concordia College together. They both received their masters in social work at Florida State together, and they both practiced social work here together in the same town. If you keep your eyes open too tonight, you might see Ken in at least a picture of him in a swimsuit. And he's going to be the muscle-bound one, so you should be able to pick him out right away. But Ken's going to say a few words.
Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words tonight. I don't know if you know it, but Corky and I go back probably about 60 years, and that's, I guess, a lifetime of memories. And I'd just like to share a few of those memories with you, probably limiting them to the earlier years of my relationship with Corky. The first is about when Corky was about 10 years of age. I remember he won a roll-fast bicycle from Rexall Drugstore in Moorhead. And the thing, it had balloon tires. And I was so envious of Corky when he had won that bike. And Corky said, well, don't worry, Ken. Next year, I'll help you win the bike. And sure enough, the next year I entered the contest, and Corky helped me win that bike. The funny thing about it, however, was that before I found out that I'd won this bike, Corky happened to call me the night before and said that I'd won a doll. When Corky was about, I think about 12 years of age, he composed a song. And this song was composed and written by Corky, and he called it his happy song, entitled Hungal Masunga. And Corky and I sang that song many, many times throughout the year. The school ended in summer, and probably in later years when the Vikings won a big game, not some of the big games. And also, I think about, it must have been in junior high year. Yes, it was junior high. Corky and I played in the band, and we played in the trumpet section of the band. And we shared the last two chairs in the band. And for 2 years, Corky and I worked real hard to make sure no one was going to take over those chairs. And they didn't. Graduate school. I was in graduate school with Corky. And we went on to Florida to graduate school. And that was really, really tough duty. I'm telling you, that was tough. I remember we roomed right next door to the governor's mansion. Leroy Collins was the governor of Florida. And Corky would go out on the deck, sip his orange juice, and every morning say, "Good morning, Leroy." And at Florida State, we used to play a lot of golf down at Coral Gables Golf Course near Miami. We golfed free because one of the fellows had a free pass because he had a field placement at the hospital there. And also we played, we swam in the beaches of Miami, I think about every week. So I guess when you say that's tough duty, I guess it really was tough running Corky. And also, we had to put up with a class consisting of about 75% women. That was tough. So what I'd like to say, from having known you, Corky, a lifetime, I guess there's 3 or 4 things that come to mind. One is your loyalties as a friend. Secondly, your zest for living. Third, your fun-loving nature. And fourth, just being you, down to earth. And I do appreciate you as a friend, Corky, and I really thank you for the memories.
Thanks, Ken. Well, our whole family's been associated with Oak Grove Lutheran High School. Dad went to school there. All of us 5 kids went to school there, and my mom even holds an honorary degree from there. So we have Howard Correll here tonight representing Oak Grove.
I'm glad this party settled down. there's a program on television called Hard Copy, and I thought we were taping a program for a while there. But it must have been good times up there fishing. Now, I read the program, or the invitation said this is a night to honor Corky. But how can we really honor a man who, before making his definite plans for retirement, makes sure that his wife's job is secure, and that Romaine will continue to work while he sits around the house? I can't understand that. And I was reading that chronicle that was printed on the back page about your new truck and trailer. And one of the great trips that Romaine liked to go on is Alaska. She told me that. And you're leaving that at home. Now, I've been on the staff of Oak Grove for 14 years. And, of course, the Fugelsang family go back from the beginning. But during that 14 years, I've had the privilege of getting to know Corky, and we've had some good visits, good conversation. One day, though, he got rather serious. He said, "Howard, you're a Methodist. How many Methodists are here?" "Thanks very much." And he said, "You're working in a Lutheran school." He said, "Doesn't that present a conflict when you're dealing with Lutheran people?" Well, I said, "Corky, I haven't really noticed any conflicts, but we have no problem with theology. I think the Methodist Church and the Lutheran Church agree pretty well on major theologians' ideas about the church, what we stand for. But really, in studying the life of Wesley, he preached many great sermons on Christians backsliding. And Corky looks at me rather serious. He said, "I've never heard a sermon in my church on backsliding." He said, "I don't think the Lutherans believe in backsliding." He said, "They just practice it." Now, the Fugelsted name goes back to the founding of Oak Grove High School. And T.T. Fugelsted was a member of the first board of trustees. In fact, he was secretary of the board. And he was present when the board members voted on the first name for Oak Grove, Lutheran Ladies Seminary. So the name, that's 1906. And we have a marvelous secretary at our school, Carol Lindsay. And I said, "Carol, can we find some proof of that on some records?" So here's a letterhead with T.T. Fugelsted's name on it.
That's great.
Corky graduated from Oak Grove in 47. And I think it's marvelous that all five, is it 5 or 6? 5 children graduated from Oak Grove High School. And they have done another wonderful thing as a family. They've planned an endowment fund in the name of Fugelsted, which will help students for many years to come. From the earnings of this foundation and the endowment, we will be able to help students financially. So I think that's a great thing, the Fugelsted family. Now, along with their financial support, Corky has certainly been generous with his time and his gift of leadership. He's been president of the Grover Club. He's been president of the Alumni Association. He's been a member of the executive board of the Grover Club. And he still continues, even though he's getting older, ready for retirement. He still continues to give that great gift of time and leadership. And we appreciate that, Corky, very much. And so, on behalf of Paul, or John Andreasen, our new president, and our faculty, staff, the Board of Regents, we want to say we love you, and we thank you for all you've done.
Thanks. We have one more to go. Ken Jardy's been a co-worker of Dad's and a good friend of his for many years. Even though Ken is out working in Montana now, they've still kept in close contact. Dad didn't really expect quite so much today, and as evident in this, Ken stopped in the office yesterday to surprise Dad, and Dad's response was, "Well, Ken, what are you doing in town?" And Ken said, "I'm here for the LSS party tomorrow afternoon." So he's going to He's going to give us a greeting tonight as well. Kevin?
I know this looks dangerous. My father told me if you're going to ever talk to somebody, be specific, be brief, and be seated. I'm going to be specific and I'm going to be seated. I don't know if I'm going to be brief, but this occasion warrants what I need to do. And Corky and Romaine, this invitation to celebrate with you simply delighted us. And when you asked me to give a greeting, I hardly heard the word greeting, but I know I told Patty, sure thing. When I talked to Corky and had lunch with him, whatever day it was, somebody asked him, what are you going to do Monday? And he said, well, I've got a lot of things to do, but I don't know where I'm going to go. I will be repeating some things I think that other people have said, but at the end I'll say something about that too. And if I cry tonight, I want you to know it's tears of joy. And I invite you to cry with me because I've had them running down my face already tonight. Corky, some of us knew you as the boss. It was a word that you never liked. But more than that, it was a role that you never exploited. I don't think it ever meant more to you than the chance to help others succeed, whether they were clients, your staff, or LSS itself. You rejoiced in the independent nature of your staff. And rather than fear our limitations, you entrusted yourself to us and our potential. And in that climate, we grew in confidence and trust in each other as persons and professionals. And you've heard from some, and I see them tonight. You once pointed me to a book about children. And in that book, I found a phrase that said, when we stop demanding from our children what they are unable to give us, we are free to enjoy what they do have to offer. And that became a dynamic that allowed me to have a lot more joy with my children as a father. And I learned that that was really the gospel in secular language, because that's the way that God loves us. And that's the way I saw you living with your children. Delighting in what they did, but far more in delighting who they were within themselves. It's a real art and skill to excel as a social worker and to be effective. It requires intuition where there is no exactness, common sense where logic and procedures fail, knowledge to unravel the intangibles in human relationships, courage to go where violence can erupt, discipline to not get in over your head, caring to press forward when a family devalues your effort when you're working with them for all your worth. And most of all, it requires love to continue on when things and people seem to be unlovable. But that's you, Corky. You worked with a sense about people, and you knew what you were all about. It's your gift to your profession, and it's your gift to us, and it's your gift to the church. Through your leadership, we learned what was important, what was real. And I think a story tells that the best. A person wanted to learn all there was to learn about jade. And a friend brought him to the guru or the grand master who knew everything there was to know about jade and left him for 2 weeks. Picking him up later to return him home, he asked, "Did you learn anything?" "Yes." "How so?" Well, each morning for 13 days in a row, this guy came and without saying a word, gave me a new piece of jade. And then this morning, strangely, he surprised me by giving me a fake. We learn what's real by being close to what's real. Corky, here it comes. You embody what's important, what's real. What's real about social services and social work in the Christian concept. And we rejoice in your life and your service for making it real for each of us. And in that spirit of genuineness, I know that you will embody what retirement is all about. And I hope that I get a chance to share some of it with you and Romaine and Pat and our families. I don't know what to say about Romaine. You knew Corky as husband. I never got that close to him. But I know there's a message in there somewhere. This night speaks of it. It's a thrill for all of us. And I thank you for my chance to be here. And I think the fact that Tom and Paul and I have said virtually the same thing about Corky tells you how genuine and pure and honest that is for who he is in his life. We never compared notes. We just lived with him. And there's got to be a message in you somewhere. And I think it's your radiant beauty and your radiant heart. And thank you for all that you have been to Corky and the family. Amen.
I'd like to again thank all the speakers tonight. I think everyone's done a great job, and we really appreciate their greetings. We have another special presentation tonight, and this is one Mom has really put a lot of work into. And this whole night has been a lot of planning, a lot of work, but Mom has been writer, director, editor, executive producer of a video. And we'd like to show you that video of presentations to Corky.
I'm here to present some things to add that you all have brought or sent to him. Starting with some letters that some friends from all over the country have sent that couldn't be here, and even ones that have been here. So here's a couple of those. Dear Mr. Fugelsig, congratulations on your retirement from Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota after 30 years of service. Your years of service to your fellow men exemplify the kind of engagement in others' lives that spread the light of all the communities, organizations throughout our nation. You represent the activities, hands-on and involved, that gets the job done, strengthened by your work, and is due to sacrifice and commitment of patriotism. Thank you for taking part and pitching in to help with your neighbors receive that special touch that is beyond the power of government to give. Barbara joins me in sending best wishes to you for your future. Sincerely, George Bush. Okay, here's one from Governor Arnie Carlson. I understand that you are retiring after a fine career with Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota. I am pleased to add my congratulations on a job well done. The citizens of our state have been well served by your longevity and dedication. Within them, I am grateful for your fine record of service. Best wishes for a long and happy retirement. Warmest regards, Arnie Carlson. We had one come in today, Federal Express, that we just got today. It's from a fellow retiree who just retired a few weeks ago, from Jerry Burns. Congratulations on your decision to join me in retirement. I just hope that your golf game is better than mine. I first moved to Minnesota in 1968. It became my home and always will be. And it's people like you, people who care about their fellow man, who makes it a special place to live and raise a family. Thank you for all you do and have done during your long career and service, and best wishes to you in your years to come. Sincerely, Jerry Burns. See, I have here a certificate from the governor's office. It says, in recognition of 30 years of service to Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota, this commendation is presented to Sanford Fugelsted with appreciation and respect from the people of Minnesota. And it's signed by Governor Arne Carlson. I also have a baseball here. It says, Dear Sanford, best of luck in your upcoming retirement, and thanks for all your support of the Twins. Signed, Andy McPhail. I see we have many more gifts over here that if you want to go and take a look at after a while, you can see all those. Nice.
I'd like to extend a couple of special thanks tonight. One is to Dad's brother, Torque, who's been instrumental in putting this all together. His dedication and commitment to planning and experience and financial backing has all made this possible. So I'd like to extend We also have a special present for Torque for all that he's done to help make this night possible.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
Of course, tonight we'd also like to extend special thanks to Mom because she's put in an incredible amount of time and planning, putting this all together. She never really realized how much Corky was around until she tried to plan this in secret. And she had to make a lot of extra trips outside the home. In fact, recently Dad had made the comment, you know, Mom sure has been shopping a lot recently. But you know, I don't really mind because she's not buying anything. So actually, Dad didn't know it, but he did get Mom a present in appreciation of all that she did today. Now we'd like to hear from the man of the evening, Corky Fugelsted.
After all that, I really don't know what to say except for maybe I should go back to work again. And then I could do this all over again. That would be fun. It has just been one fantastic day. And I knew about this afternoon, but I had no awareness that anything like this was happening tonight.
And I discovered one thing, I have a very, very sneaky wife. And I'm really going to have to keep my eye on her and so on. But, oh, it's just been wonderful. And it's so nice to see people here that aren't my relatives. It seems like it was all relatives. And there's a lot of relatives you haven't even met yet. So it's like great to have the Wilmer group here. They're the best bunch of friends anybody could ever have. The group from Oak Grove, the group from Wendell, church, all over the place. It's just so wonderful to have you here. And I'm really, really looking forward to retirement. That's for sure. And I mentioned this afternoon something that really struck me today. And it strikes me even more tonight. But this is the Ziggy cartoon. You know, Ziggy is sitting there and he's saying, it's hard to believe that my life is based on a true story. And all this seems so unreal that it makes it even more that way. And I don't know, there's so many comments I could make, but just a couple I'm thinking. Dave Steigerberg from Wilmer, the stories he told fishing were absolutely true. And there are many, many stories I could tell and won't tell. But what came to mind is we also had fun in Wilmer. And I don't know how many of you play bridge, but duplicate bridge players are crazy. They're dead serious. That's the ultimate thing, is playing duplicate bridge. And Dave and I used to go down with the Duplicate Bridge Club once a year when they were having their tournament. And it seems like just about every year we came in first or second. And we'd leave there saying, there really isn't very much to this game. It didn't win us very many friends, but it was worth it. It really was worth it. And then I got to tell you about Roger, too. Pastor Olson, he was saying he just finished the seminary in '61, was that it, or ordained? Well, yeah, the reason why that was a little bit late is Roger was a mortician before he went to the seminary. And that's absolutely honest truth. Right, Roger? Right. And he was a mortician in Wisconsin, just over from Minnesota. And, I didn't say. Well, this is basically the reason why he decided to go to the seminary, I guess. But he was conducting this funeral, and they were taking the casket out of the hearse and putting it on the gurney in Duluth, And you've been to speech in Duluth where they went and so they take it out, and Roger turns to close the door, and the gurney and the casket starts rolling. So here's Roger chasing after and going down, and so on. And it was on one street or another, they're running after it like crazy, and finally it veers off to the side and goes right through a drugstore hospital. And it rolls up to the pharmacy counter and stands on end and pops open, and a voice comes out and says, "Do you have anything to stop this coughing?" and with that, Roger felt, I got to get out of this place. There's got to be more to life, and I think I can find it in the ministry. So, I don't know. There's so many things I could say. Mostly is I just enjoyed having all of you for relatives and all of you for friends. I've gotten a tremendous amount of support and appreciate you all very much. So thank you very much.
also thank you all for coming, and everyone is welcome to stay for more cake and coffee.